Unless you've been living on the rock, you know that Mike Tyson got back to the ring at 55 years old. So many lessons from that fight. I actually did a training for my clients when I showed the 5 lessons that we got from Mike Tyson and how we need to get back to the ring. We need to get back into the fight as men. We need to continue to keep fighting. Because men don't stop fighting because we get old. We get old because we stop fighting.
Yeah.
Even if you're in your 20s.
Right.
Here, Mike Tyson explains his desire to fight again. I feel unstoppable now. The gods of war have reawakened me. And he said something about
But we have to understand one simple principle. Men don't stop fighting because they get old. Men get old because they stop fighting. See, the fastest way to die is to kill our dreams. Every single man has a vision. Every single man has a dream. The reality is that if we start losing our dreams, we start dying little by little. Because when we start pursuing our vision, when we stop pursuing our dreams, we stop growing. And when we're not growing, we are dying. And every single time that we stop growing, we start to lose our drive, we lose our hunger, we lose the fight. And the moment that we start losing the fight, the moment that we start losing the hunger, we start to lose the edge. See, the hardest thing for a man to do is to bring back that hunger. Is to bring back that drive. Because it's going to take everything we have. And that's what I saw this past weekend when I saw Mike Tyson fight. Is a man who, if you know his story, he was dealing with depression. He was dealing with uncertainty. He was dealing with a lot of things. And the moment that he realized, like, man, I need to get back into the fight. I need to get back into the ring. And there was a podcast interview with Joe Rogan when he said, like, the gods of war summoned him to come back into the fight. If you listen to the podcast, man, it was so profound when he said, like, something inside of him was burning that he had to wake up to be able to have the courage to go into the battle. So as I watched that fight, I saw a warrior become a king. I saw the transition of a warrior turning into a king, because the moment that he stepped into the ring, he was a king. He was no longer a warrior. So I want to share with you the 5 lessons that we could all learn from Mike Tyson to get back into the ring. Because all of us, we have to get that drive back. All of us, we have to be willing to fight, because life is worth fighting for. But see, sometimes life is kicking our ass every single day that we lose the drive, we lose the fight, or worse, we get comfortable. So lesson number 1 is get comfortable being uncomfortable. That at the end of the day, every single man that looks for comfort begins to die little by little. See, resistance makes you stronger. And every single time that you hit a wall, every single time that you hit resistance, you actually getting stronger. You start using your muscles, because growth is uncomfortable at first, but the moment that you push through the pain, you will find your flow. That's what's going on right now in the society. Men are looking to be comfortable. Men are looking to grow. And because we're not looking to grow, we get bored. We start to sedate. We begin little by little to sabotage our patterns, sabotage our life. That's one of the things that Mike Tyson said. Like, he said in the interview, in the pre-fight interview, he said, I sabotaged my life and had to rebuild it back again. And it takes a separate type of man, a different type of man, to be able to build your life back again. But he said we do it over and over and over again because we drive our life to the next level. We actually get that hunger back by building our life back up. 90% of the people will avoid being uncomfortable. 99% of people are running away from pain. But if you do what most are not willing to do, you will accomplish what most will never will. And that's when people question, why did he get back into the ring? They realize one thing, like at that age, at 55 years old, nobody's looking to fight. Nobody's looking to get back to the ring, but he's not like everyone else. Just like you're not like everyone else. Stop trying to be like everyone else. Stop trying to do the same shit that most people are doing, because the reality is, if you're here to lead, if you're here to make an impact, you have to be willing to do what most are not willing to do. The second thing is fear is always part of the equation. One of the things that he said at the interview, they asked him, are you afraid? He says, fuck yeah, I'm afraid. I'm afraid to get back to the ring because I know one thing. That other motherfucker in the other side wants to knock my head off. So I am afraid. See, most people think that people who get into the rings, or people who actually fight, or people who actually have a big impact, they are fearless. But the reality is that they use fear to be able to leverage their execution. Because if your vision doesn't scare you, you're not thinking big enough. The moment that you start realizing that your vision has to move you, your vision has to scare you, your vision has to be big enough for you to say, fuck, how am I going to do this? How am I going to accomplish this? That's the moment that you go beyond yourself and push a part of you that gets summoned by the gods of war for you to show up into the battlefield. Because when you face your fear, you will turn that fear into fuel. So every single time that you're facing your fear, you have the opportunity to use it as leverage to go into the ring and fight. Do what you fear the most, and the rest is easy. As an entrepreneur, as a leader, you have to be willing to put yourself out there and do what you're afraid to do the most. Because the moment that you conquer your fear, the moment that you focus on conquering your fears, the rest is easy. Sometimes the fear that we have is, what will people say? How will people react? What if I fail? What if I get punched in the face? The truth is that if you're an entrepreneur and you're a leader, you're going to get punched in the face. You are going to fail. People will laugh at you. People will question you. But at the end of the day, you have to get into the fight, and you have to continue to try, because that's when you feel alive. The third is, when you're in the fight, you can't stop throwing punches. If you saw the fight, you saw that he went in there like a fucking beast, like a fucking lion. And he didn't stop throwing punches from the beginning until the end, because he knew one thing. If he stopped throwing punches, he was going to get knocked the fuck out. Because life will not stop throwing punches just because you're weak. So stop asking for life to get easier. Ask to get stronger. Do what's necessary for you to get stronger. And because life is not going to take it easy on you. Your challenges are not going to stop coming until you get stronger and continue to throw punches. Because if you're not there to knock your opponent out, you'll be the one who gets knocked the fuck out. If you're not there to win, if you don't step into the ring to win, if you're not stepping into the fight to win, if you're not looking at your business, you're looking at your marriage, you're looking at your life and saying, hey, I'm going to conquer my life, I'm going to conquer my marriage, I'm going to conquer my business, and I'm here to win, you already lost. You have to have the mentality, that intention, that you're going to be there to knock that motherfucker out. What I'm talking about is knocking your problems, knocking your challenges out. Number 4 is fight for something bigger than you. One of the key things that happen before the fight is to ask him, why? Who are you fighting for? Why are you fighting? And he said, when I was young, I used to fight for myself. When I was young, I used to think, what are the things that I'm going to win? But now he says, I'm fighting for other people. Because the reality is that getting into the fight is easy. Staying in it is the hard part. Because the moment that you get into the fight, when you feel you can't go any further, you have to remember, why are you fighting for? And that's what's going to give you the second wind. That's what's going to give you the opportunity for you to get back up, or you get knocked the fuck out. Because you either finish what you start, or you die trying. But giving up is not an option. And that's what I saw when I saw him get into the ring. Is like, Mike Tyson was ready to die trying. He was afraid, but he wasn't going to give up. Number 5, which is the most important one, is warriors die, kings live forever. The warrior wants to fight for himself. The king fights for others. The warrior wants to prove to the world that he's somebody. The king knows who he is. Because at the end of the day, the fight is between you versus you. It doesn't matter how many times you won, how many times you lost. What matters is who you become in the process. Because every single time that you focus on legacy, you become a legend. And that's what happened in this fight. Mike Tyson became an icon for somebody who's coming back when he doesn't have to. With somebody who doesn't have to prove anything. And it doesn't matter whether you think, he's the best fighter or not. What matters is you see a man standing up for what he believes, meaning that he needs to be alive. The moment that he gets into the fight, that's him versus him. So the question for you is, what's the fight that you're avoiding? What's the fight that you're afraid of? What's the fight that you're afraid to get hurt? Because the moment that you are running away from the fight, you become weaker. And just like Mike Tyson, we have to look at life as a fight. We have to be willing to get uncomfortable. We have to be willing to do the shit that most people are not willing to do. We have to be willing to conquer our fears. We have to be willing to fight for somebody else besides ourselves. We have to be able to create a legacy and focus on impact. So my challenge for you is to get in the ring. Forget what you've done in the past, how many times you won, how many times you lost. Get in the fucking ring. Because every single time that you refuse to get in the ring, every single time that you refuse to fight, life will not stop throwing you punches. And that's what we've seen this year in 2020. 2020 is throwing punches. Maybe 2021 is going to throw more punches. The question is, are you going to get stronger or are you going to give up? Because I truly believe that if you're here to lead, you're destined to become a legend. And if you want to become a legend, you have to focus on legacy because the best is yet to come. If you're a man that's looking for the edge, go to findmynextlevel.com to join us on a 30-day challenge. This challenge is going to give you the system and the process so you can find your code to the edge.